can smile, you can come and stay a while. You can dream my dream, you can have it with me.
I don't know what to tell you. This is hell. Robert Rodriguez is a filmmaker with two main settings: over-the-top violence and cheesy kids movies. Might be a little jarring for some people, but I can respect someone with range. Just cause you make movies with gallons of blood doesn't mean you can't still be good with kids. Easily, his best known family-friendly efforts are the Spy Kids films, a series focusing on... well, it's kinda obvious, isn't it? As a kid, I remember loving these movies. But then again, I was 7. This is the same kid who saw Shark Tale twice in cinemas. I'm not proud of the man I was. Spy Kids is the story of former OSS agents Ingrid and Gregorio Cortez, two of the best spies in the business. Or rather, it's about their kids, Carmen and Junie. This isn't Spy Parents, that'd be a different movie entirely. As you might imagine, retiring from a life of violence and adventure doesn't work great with your people skills. Carmen's a brat who lies to her parents and skips school, while Gregorio just can't seem to connect with Junie. Carmen has to be at least 11 years old and still gets cheesy bedtime stories, but no, Junie's apparently the oddball. Deciding to go on one last mission together, Mum and Dad end up kidnapped by this guy, Vegan Floop, who happens to be the star of Junie's favourite show, Floop's Fooglies? You show this to kids? You really are a monster, aren't you? Turns out he's not an actor, but a mad inventor who uses his creations to fill his show with robot henchmen, and my nightmares for the next month. Ah! Oh, so that's a Foogly. I don't like it. You see, a long time ago, Greg created something called the Third Brain, which Floop needs to complete his army of robot spy kids. Oh, I get it, yes, very clever. As children's cinematic convention dictates, it's now up to Junie and Carmen to save them.
My parents can't be spies, they're not cool enough.
Your dad is Antonio Banderas! Look, Mum, toys! Buy them for me! Buy them all! Oh, Mr. Rodriguez, you knew how to push all the right buttons. How many other movies can you think of with jetpack chases, thumb robots, hologram rooms, crooked hands, and... okay, what is with the fingers? I'm getting a little uncomfortable. Along the way, they track down Danny Trejo, who happens to be playing their estranged Uncle Machete. Sounds familiar, right? Yes, it's the same character. Meaning this...
Ew, gross. What do you see? You.
Is in the same continuity as this. Childhood ruined? Or adulthood enhanced? Who am I to judge? Aside from him, I actually think I like Gregorio the best. I can really sympathize with the guy. All he wants is to be his son's hero, but it's like they're from two different worlds. You know, me and my dad, we don't talk much either. Maybe it's time I did something about that.
Hello, son. It is me, your father. Tell me some secrets, son.
My dad doesn't have a mustache.
You slippery Sanum!
I have no idea who that was. I should probably call the police. Eventually it turns out that Floop is harmless and that the real villain is his minion, Minion, an OSS scientist gone rogue. You can tell he's evil because he allied himself with the other mother.
Welcome back, Miss Credink.
It's good to be back, Alex. Let's never have children.
Then what you gonna eat, Mel? Pizza? You can't live off pizza. If you could, I would be. He does this to Greg, so they do this to him. Oh wow, that is actually horrifying. Don't. Some iffy dialogue and effects aside, I think this one holds up pretty well. The themes of family and forgiveness are pretty simple, but timeless. And one thing I really like is that we have an actually decent reason for the kids to become spies to begin with. Which is totally thrown out the window in Spy Kids 2, where the OSS has completely embraced child soldiers. That's right, children. All your fantasies and dreams are illegal in real life. Deal with it. Ominously subtitled The Island of Lost Dreams, this one sees Carmen and Junie contend with an evil plot from within the OSS itself that pits them against rival spy kids Gary and Gertie, and brings them to a mysterious island where they are hunted by mutant monsters. This is either really stupid or really awesome. Well, why not both? You might miss this the first time around like me, but the villain of this film, Donegan, was actually one of the Fooglies in the first movie, repaying the Cortez family in manipulation and attempted murder. Even weirder, he's played by Mike Judge of all people.
Where's my mom and dad? I got it. What'd he say? I'll play it backwards.
Dang, man, he's got your parents up in that dang old dungeon, man. Gotta be on the other side of a castle, so you better get going before them fun folks see you up there, man. You know how it is. Floop is a madman. Help us, save us. Heck of a predicament, I tell you what. We have some great gadgets this time. A little spy bug bot, a watch that does everything but tell time, magnet bikes and spider hands, and they're all utterly worthless for half the film because the island shuts down all technology. It's like this. Still want it? This is a result of the film's MacGuffin, the Transmuka device, which is sort of like a planet-wide EMP, and also a death ray because we forgot to establish any rules! On the island they meet Romero, creator of the Transmuka and the island's many mutants. Stuck alone, the poor guy's gone a little kooky over the years.
Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created? Here on Earth?
Holy shit. We also meet Carmen and Junie's grandparents, themselves former spies, who are eager to step in when the mission goes south. Huh? Yeah, I know the grandfather's played by Ricardo Montalban. You want a con joke? Nah, I don't do those. Come on, con! Con! Oh my god. Anymore. Right towards the end there's this one bit where Carmen and Junie find an ancient temple where they can read each other's thoughts for no real reason. Seriously, they get like one joke out of it then move on. Why is this scene here?
I've been stuck here since the Pacific Rim video. I haven't seen my family in 2 years. If anyone's out there, send help.
Gravity Falls Season 2 wasn't as good as Season 1. Okay, there, I said it. People don't seem to like this one as much, and I sorta get that, and I sorta don't. In the first movie, the kids were out of their depth, and part of the charm was being a normal kid going on an adventure. This one goes full on Saturday morning cartoon from the get-go. It's not the same, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It may not be as grounded, but of the whole series, this one is easily the most creative. You know, this scene's alright, but wouldn't it be more interesting if we had Donegan hopping over to his desk over this massive abyss on these tiny platforms poking out of the ground? Yeah, maybe when pigs fly. When does that happen? When does that ever happen? Ever! What the f***? And that brings us to the most infamous installment in the franchise. Spy Kids 3. Game over. It's this one. This one here. Turns out that some years ago the OSS imprisoned Sylvester Stallone in cyberspace. Naturally pretty upset, he's become a supervillain called the Toymaker and has created a virtual reality game called Game Over to enslave the children of the world and escape his prison. Naturally, it's up to Junie and Carmen to stop him. All this excitement and originally released in 3D. Wow! It's like I'm really there! Oh no. Taking place in a video game, about 85% of the film is green screen, meaning Rodriguez is one step closer to his dream of eliminating live action from his films entirely. Nobody tell the poor guy, okay? Yeah, if you can't tell already, this is the series' low point. There's some nice nods to the first two, but it really doesn't feel like a Spy Kids movie at all. It's still got a lot of cool stuff and ideas, but it's not the same thing. For one thing, Carmen gets captured before the film even starts, so she's barely in it, and Junie doesn't get any gadgets this time. Still want it? After a run-in with some beta testers, Junie realizes he could use a hand and summons Grandpa, which he can apparently just do. Didn't have to strap him into the game or anything, he's just here now. Suiting up in a pair of CGI legs, he helps Junie... Okay, bye Grandpa. Thanks for the help. Bye. I remember really wanting to play Game Over as a kid. It's like every other game wrapped into one. Banjo-Kazooie, F-Zero, Street Fighter, World of Warcraft, War of the Monsters, and it's actual proper virtual reality. Admit it, that's pretty cool. Wait, did she just lose 4 lives from one hit? Rodriguez, have you played a video game before? Do you know what this is?
Why is it that every video game has lava in it?
Pac-Man. Idiot. By the end, Junie reunites with Carmen and shuts down the game, accidentally freeing the toy maker and his army of giant metal Donkey Kongs. Fortunately, they turn out to be made of styrofoam. Regardless, they decide to call in some backup. Wow! It's like the Avengers! Except bad. Also, Minion became a good guy. I don't know why. Hey, Sylvester. What? Cut it out! Okay. And, well, that's Spy Kids. There's only so many films you can make before the kids grow up, and while it may not be the most beloved franchise, I still think it deserves a better send-off than this. Fourth one? Yeah, I know. I only do movies I like. Okay. Just this once. As you might guess, we're following 2 new kids, Cecil and Rebecca, as they discover that their stepmom Marissa is former OSS. Yes, it's a rehash of the first movie, but in a way that tries to bring things full circle. And you know the thing about trying? That means you might not succeed.
Our stepmother's a spy? Impossible. She's not cool enough.
She's Jessica Alba! Marissa is a real professional too, hunting down supervillains 9 months into her pregnancy. Either that's the most totally badass thing I've ever heard in my life, or it's just disgustingly irresponsible. She never gets captured, but her archfoe does attack the house, since she has the only MacGuffin that can shut down his Doomsday device. Or rather, his Armageddon device. You see, in this film, a villain called the Timekeeper is literally stealing time. Days are moving quicker, hours are becoming minutes. He can do all this, but apparently couldn't splurge on a decent mask. I mean, really?
I don't understand, it looks fine to me. Oh.
When they finally do get to the OSS, they're welcomed by a familiar face.
Welcome to the OSS.
Wait a minute. This is the wrong building, damn it. Oh, look at this. I'm getting all nostalgic. There's the jetpacks from Spy Kids 1, and Ralph from Spy Kids 2, and the battle armor from... Game Over. The armor that does not physically exist. That usually takes a little longer. At least we finally get this film's gadgets. Super Punch Gloves. You really didn't care at this point, did you? You know what? Game Over was stupid and kinda pointless, but it was still fun to watch. The effects were awful, but they were creative. It had its own stupid charm, it just didn't fit. This has no charm! I even hate the kids this time. In the first film, Carmen and Junie spring into action because their parents are in danger and they have no choice. This time...
Well, wouldn't you want to be a spy? I will be. Even better spy than Mercer.
That's like me saying I'm gonna be the next JonTron. You've watched this far, I think you know where I'm coming from. Also, Ricky Gervais as a robot dog.
Well, it's not the sort of thing you'd miss, is it really? A small, handsome dog talking with an English accent, like James Bond.
Now, to whoever had a few drinks and told him that he was really funny and that he should make a career out of it, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Butt bombs.
Okay, to be fair, who could make that line work? You wouldn't think a film this bad would have anything to write home about, but there is one thing. The timekeeper himself, who doesn't want to destroy the world, but go back in time. You see, as a child, he was frozen in time by what would become the Armageddon device. Racked with guilt, his scientist father dedicated his life to setting him free, only to pass away after decades of getting nowhere. And he had to watch. Yep, I think I'd be upset too. He's also the new director of the OSS, meaning they're responsible for every single main villain in the series. I guess that's accurate. In war there are no heroes. In the end, the family comes together to help convince the timekeeper that you can't change the past, but you can take hold of your future. Henchman TikTok disagrees.
Nice.
Oh, baby's first bad guy!
She is 12 months old. You are a horrible parent and a horrible person. For the sake of your daughter and the world at large, please die. Aw, Spy Kids, why you gotta do this to me? It's half and half. 2 good films, 1 stupid but fun film, and this. And hey, even this one had its positives, so half and a quarter? Mr. Rodriguez, if you're watching, you made me smile as a kid, laugh as an adult, and gave me something to share with my niece and nephew. And for that I wanna...
Identifying possible talent, setting filters to mounts.
What are you doing? No! Stop! Stop, you can't do this! What do you think you're doing? They're just babies!
And you have been activated.
This was their plan all along. From the start! Oh, wait a second.
Hey!
No! Bad Spy Kid! No taking over the world! Don't think about what you've done! Greetings. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to comment, like, and subscribe for more. If you do not accept it, I have other videos you may be interested in watching. And if that doesn't interest you, you have the whole of YouTube at your fingertips. Don't be annoying.